Hello and welcome to today's webinar on advanced searching on AmericanAncestors.org. My name is Ginevra Morse, the Director of Education and Online Programs at the New England Historic Genealogical Society. I'll be moderating today's event. NEHGS is a nonprofit organization supported by our members and donors. We provide resources and expertise in nearly all aspects of family history and are pleased to offer this webinar today for our members and friends around the world. Giving today's presentation is Christopher Carter. Originally from Ohio, Christopher joined the Society in 2009 while attending Simmons College. He received his MS degree in Library and Information Science with concentrations in Archives Management and Cultural Heritage Informatics. In his role as Digital Collections Coordinator, Christopher assists in the digitization of historical and genealogical content for NEHGS websites. He also assists the Technical Services Department with digital library projects and book conservation. In today's presentation, Christopher will discuss how to search our database collections and navigate the results. He'll also walk through some case studies to highlight different search strategies. At any point during the presentation, feel free to type your question in the panel to the right of your screen. We'll address as many as we can in the last 10 to 15 minutes of the hour. We do not have a handout for today's presentation, but you can find additional search tips on our website under Learning Resources. You will also find a camera icon on the upper right of your screen that can be used to capture screenshots of the slides and then save them to your computer. We're also recording this event, so don't feel that you need to take pages and pages of notes because you will be able to review a video of the presentation starting tomorrow. All right, so without further ado, I will hand things over to Chris.
Thanks, Ginevra, and thank you everyone for joining us today. This overview of the search and browse functionality on American Ancestors will help you to better access our records and assist in your online research. First, I'll provide a quick overview of our website. AmericanAncestors.org provides users with access to the wealth of resources offered by NEHGS. You can find information about our research library, located in Boston, Massachusetts, and you can take advantage of our variety of service offerings, including online education programs and research for hire opportunities. One of the main uses for our website, though, is our large collection of searchable online databases. Referencing more than 1 billion names, these resources hold more than 600 million records across more than 400 collections, and we're uploading new databases or adding records to our existing collections every week. Through this presentation, I'll outline 3 main ways to access these materials: keyword searching, advanced searching, and the more recent database browse option. We'll start from the home page to conduct a basic keyword search. In the upper right-hand corner of this page, you'll find a simple search box with a drop-down menu to its left. The default selection for this drop-down menu is Cite, which will conduct a keyword search of the main pages of our website, such as the staff directory or our online education resources. Another option in this drop-down menu is Library, which will conduct a keyword search of titles, authors, and subjects associated with the materials included in our library catalog to help you locate resources available in our collections. The final option in the drop-down menu is Database. This option will conduct a keyword search of the records indexed in our online database collections. The terms you enter will be searched across all available fields in the databases, so you can enter a name, location, date, or phrase to get a variety of results. In this example, I've entered the terms Watts, Rhode Island to search for records for the surname Watts in Rhode Island. After conducting a keyword search from the home page, you'll be taken to a list of search results that will look similar to what you see here. Near the top of the page, you can find the total number of records returned by your search next to a confirmation of your search terms. The main section of the page divides your search results into 3 columns. The first column is labeled Name, which lists the name of the individual, the database title, and the category. The second column, Events, lists the record type, date, location, and any other fields that have been indexed for that particular collection. The final column, Relationship, lists the names of family members to the primary individual, if these names have been indexed for that collection. In the case of this example, we can see that a keyword search can potentially return somewhat unexpected results. The first record is from the 1850 United States Census for a woman by the name of Sarah Watts. While I searched for Rhode Island, Sarah is listed as having lived in Michigan in this record. Looking at the other indexed fields, however, you can see that Sarah was born in Rhode Island, explaining why this record was returned. Overall, a keyword search can be a good way to quickly find the number of records associated with certain search terms, but it does not allow you to specify where those terms appear in each record. And every indexed field is weighed equally when searching by keyword. The search results page does, however, offer you some options to manipulate and refine your results, which can help you navigate a large number of records when conducting a broad search like this. One option to navigate your search results is to use the Sort By drop-down menu. By default, this menu is designed to display results based on relevance. The usefulness of sorting by relevance is a little limited when searching by keyword, since the search terms can be located in any indexed field. Relevance is more useful when conducting a more granular search using the advanced search form, since the search engine will weigh the individual search fields accordingly. Also, the default search behavior allows for fuzzy spelling to assist users in locating records with minor spelling variations, and the relevance option will take the spelling of search terms into consideration when sorting results. Other sorting options include listing results chronologically by year or alphabetically by first name, last name, country, state, record type, or the title of the database collection holding the records. On this slide, you can see that I've selected record type from the drop-down menu, and the first three results all refer to baptism records in Rhode Island where Watts is represented as either the first or last name. Another option to navigate your search results is to take advantage of the category and database facets. Underneath the Sort By drop-down menu, you will find a list of database categories organized by the number of records that match the search terms you entered. Clicking on any of these categories will refresh the page to limit your results to only those records that fall within that category. Once you've chosen a category, you will also see a list of individual databases organized by record count beneath the currently selected category. Selecting one of these collections will then refresh the list of search results to only include records from that specific database. If your search results includes records from a wide range of collections, only the three with the greatest number of records will be displayed beneath the category facet. In that case, you will see an option to view all. Clicking on that option will expand the list of all collections for that category that contain records relevant to your search, organized by record count. You then have the option to select one of these databases, or you can collapse the list without selecting an individual collection. If you would like to conduct a completely new search, the search results page has a blue New Search button with a magnifying glass icon above the Sort By drop-down menu. If you would like to instead refine your search terms beyond the capabilities offered by the sorting and facet features, you can find a blue button labeled with the word Refine and the image of a pencil next to the New Search button. Clicking on this button will overlay a version of the advanced search form atop the search results page. Any search terms that had been applied to the search, including those assigned through facet options, will be reflected on the search form. I'll go into more detail about each of the fields available on this form in another slide, but for this example, I'm simply adding the name Simon to the Keywords field to illustrate how you can add or remove search terms to help refine your search on the fly. Once you've made the desired changes, you can click on the gold Search button to refresh your search results using the updated terms. After adding Simon to the search terms and selecting the Census, Tax, and Voter Lists category facet, we've narrowed down the list of search results to just one record for Simon C. Watts in the Rhode Island 1885 census for the town of Tiverton. Once you're happy with the results of your search, you may want to save the search to view it again in the future. To save a search from the search results page, click on the blue button labeled Save Search in the upper right-hand corner of the page. This will pop up a prompt to enter a name for the search. Note that you're saving the search terms used to conduct the search rather than the list of results. If we add records in the future that match your search terms, conducting your saved search will display the newer records as well. So it can be useful to save searches that you plan to run frequently or those that are related to collections that may be updated in the future, such as one of our ongoing study projects. You may also want to save searches that return a large number of relevant records to allow you to revisit results that you aren't able to view in one sitting. Once you've saved a search, it becomes accessible in a couple of places. The main location to view your saved searches is the My Account page. You can access your account page through the header found on any page of our website by clicking on My Account next to your display name in the welcome message. The account page allows you to view information related to your user profile, view an account of your digital purchases, or access your saved searches. The Saved Searches section displays the title you applied to the search, the date it was saved, and the search terms used. To the right of each saved search, you are presented with 4 options. Clicking Search will run the search, taking you to the current list of search results based on the saved search terms. Edit will overlay a version of the search form with the saved search terms already populated, similar to clicking Refine on the search results page, allowing you to add or remove terms to the search. Rename allows you to change the title of the saved search in the same manner as when the search was first saved. Finally, Delete will remove the saved search from your list. Clicking this option will prompt you to confirm that you wish to delete the search before removing it from your account. The other way to access your saved searches is through the database search form. This form is the primary method to search our online database collections, providing you greater control over your search results than the broader keyword search. To access the database search form, you can select Databases from the Search drop-down menu in the American Ancestors navigation bar. In the upper right-hand corner of the search form, you will see a Saved Searches drop-down menu. Selecting one of your saved searches from this menu will populate the form with the search terms associated with that search. You will then have the option to conduct the search as is, or you can alter the search terms before running the search. You can use the buttons beneath the Saved Searches drop-down menu to edit, rename, or delete the search from this page as well. Turning our focus to the search form itself, you'll see a variety of fields to apply to your search. The first fields on the form are for the names of primary individuals. The Names section of the search form has 2 text entry boxes. In general, you should put first names in the first box and last names in the second box. Middle names and the maiden names of married women can also be placed in the first box. Any titles or suffixes, such as doctor, junior, or senior, that you'd like to include in your search can also be entered in the first name field. Above the name search fields, you will see 2 checkboxes. The first checkbox is labeled Exact Search. By default, the search engine will include results that are spelled phonetically similar to the names you search for. If you only want to receive results that match the names exactly as entered, you can click this checkbox to limit your results to exact matches. The second checkbox is labeled SoundX. SoundX was developed in the early 20th century, and one of its earliest uses was to analyze surnames in United States Census records. The standards for SoundX are currently maintained by the United States National Archives and Records Administration. While the default search engine behavior will include last names that are similar in spelling to your search terms, SoundX is an alternative option for users who are familiar with this more traditional genealogical tool. Beneath the name section of the search form, you will find two boxes where you can enter a year range for your search. The first box is the starting year for your search, and the second box is the ending year. If you want to search one specific year, you'll need to enter that year in both boxes. Only entering the year in one of these boxes will result in a more open-ended search. Leaving the first box blank will return records from any year up to the date entered in the second box, while leaving the second box blank will return records starting from the year entered in the first box up through the present. Next to the year fields, there is a record type drop-down menu. This allows you to search for a specific type of event, such as birth, baptism, marriage, death, or burial, among other options. The next row of the search form begins with the option to enter a location for your search. The location field is one search box that will look for the terms you enter across the city, county, region, and country associated with each record. By default, the search engine will search for locations that are spelled similarly to the terms you enter into this field. If you would like to receive results that match your terms exactly, you can click the Exact Location checkbox above the Location search field. Note that if you want to include terms for more than one type of location, such as a city and a county, or a county and a state, each term should be separated by a comma to allow the search engine to recognize them as separate location fields. Next to the location field is the keyword search box. This field is effectively the same as the keyword search box we used on the home page. Entering terms in this field will search any indexed field, so it can be useful as a catch-all placement for any terms you want to broadly apply to your search. Together, all of these fields are the ones you'll use most often when conducting a wider search, but you can find additional search options providing more control over your search results if you click on the Advanced Search option near the bottom of the search form. Once you've expanded the Advanced Database Search form, you'll be presented with options related to the specific collections to be included in your search. Beneath the label Database Type, you will find the Category drop-down menu. This option allows you to select from groups of databases based on content type, such as vital records, census lists, or probate papers. Selecting one of these options will limit your results to only include records from databases that are assigned to that category. Next to this, you'll see the Database drop-down menu. By default, this menu will display an alphabetical list of all of our online databases to allow you to search for records in one individual collection. I should point out that the database, category, and record type drop-down menus on the search form are all interconnected. If you make a selection in any of these menus, the available options in the other two menus will be updated to only include values that match your previous selection. For example, selecting the census record type, as I've done here, will update the category drop-down menu to only display the categories that contain collections where census records have been indexed. Likewise, the database menu will only display the individual collections that include census records. This behavior is to help prevent you from choosing combinations from these menus that won't return any results. If you'd like to return to the default contents of these menus without refreshing the entire search form, you can select All from the drop-down menu to once again display all of the available options. Below the category and database drop-down menus, you'll find a section for adding family member information, specifically the names of the father, mother, or spouse of the primary individual. The drop-down menu to the left allows you to select one of these roles, or you can select any to search across all relationships using one name, which you place in the first and last name fields to the right of the menu. You also have the option to include up to 2 more names by clicking on the Add Family Members option, for a total of 3 family member fields. Note that not all database collections have indexed family member information, even when the original record displays the names of these individuals. At the moment, it is primarily a useful tool for our more recently added vital record collections, such as those for the states of Vermont and New Hampshire, although we do plan to continue to increase the scope of these fields in the future. If you included the names of family members in your search and you receive 0 results, it's possible that this feature is not supported for the collection, location, or time period you're searching. So that's something to keep in mind if you don't receive the results you expect. The advanced search form will expand even further when you selected an individual collection from the database drop-down menu to include an additional area between the database type and family member sections. This area will include database search tips that may include instructions or limitations that are unique to that collection. It will also allow you to search for more specific fields that are not available across all collections. In this example, you'll see that I've selected the Rhode Island Census Collection from the database drop-down menu. I now have the option to include search terms for fields that are identified as available for this database, such as age, marital status, and birthplace. These additional options and instructions illustrate how selecting an individual collection can provide you with enhanced control over your search terms, so it can be useful to narrow your search to the collection level if you are able to identify a resource that looks to be relevant to your research. The number and type of fields that appear in this selection will vary by collection, so it's often worth selecting an individual resource to become more familiar with all of the search options that are available to you. When using the database search form, you may be interested in using wildcards to assist in your search. The 2 main wildcards available on American Ancestors are the question mark and the star. The question mark wildcard can be used to replace one single character, which can be useful when searching for a name that can be commonly spelled 2 different ways. In the example here, I've used the question mark to search for the name Aiden, spelled with either an E or a second A. The star wildcard can be used to take the place of any number of characters, including none at all. In this example, I've entered ELIZA star. This would return records for both the full name of Elizabeth and the shortened form of Eliza. Please note that at least 2 characters are required before you can use a wildcard. Due to the sheer volume of records in our database index, wildcards placed at the beginning of names will be ignored to reduce strain on the search engine. Once you conduct your search, you'll be taken to a list of search results. As we see here, I've located the same record we found after using the facets for our keyword search. By using the advanced search form, I was able to include more detailed and exact search parameters, which allow me to locate the exact record I was looking for without needing to filter or refine my search. Now, I managed to pull this off because I know exactly how this record is indexed in our database, so it probably won't be as straightforward when conducting most searches. But using the database facets and refined search options can still help you manage your search when you receive too many or too few results to find what you're looking for. When you have identified a record that you would like to view, you can click on the name of the individual associated with the record to view more information. If you see an icon of a camera next to the name, you can expect to see an image of the record. If the record is in a collection that does not include images, you will instead see an icon of a piece of paper, which means you'll be taken to a transcript of the record rather than an image. Once you've clicked on one of your search results, you'll be taken to what we like to call the record detail page. If an image of the record is available, it will be displayed beneath the header and navigational tools, taking up most of the screen. This page offers a number of options to manipulate the record image, and it provides links to information about the database and the ability to navigate to other records in the collection. If you hover your mouse cursor over the image viewing window, you should notice 6 image control buttons in the upper left corner of the window. The first button is a plus symbol, which will zoom into the record image. Likewise, the minus symbol will zoom the image out. The icon of the house will reset the image to be displayed as it was when you first loaded the page. The icon of the box will change your web browser to full screen viewing mode to make the image even larger. And the left and right arrow icons will rotate the image 90 degrees. Most images should be displayed right side up by default, but there are occasionally page images, such as charts or family trees published in genealogical journals, that may need to be rotated to allow you to more easily read the text of the record. Above the image viewing window, you'll find options to download or print the record. By default, you will download or print the entire record image. If you would like to print or save a particular portion of the record, you can zoom or rotate the image as desired and select the Current View checkbox to capture the image as it appears on your screen. When printing, the page will display the title of the database, the volume and page citation, and the URL of the selected record. If you'd like to navigate to another page in the collection, you can find volume and page controls above the image viewing window. The volume drop-down menu will only appear if the current collection has multiple volumes. Selecting any of the volumes in the menu will refresh the page to display the first page of that volume. To move to another page, you can use the left and right arrows to page backward or forward one page at a time. If you'd like to jump to a specific page, you can enter that page number into the box and press the Enter or Return key on your keyboard. To the right of the page number box, you'll see the last page number for the current volume to let you know the total number of pages available. To the left of the volume and page controls, you'll see blue buttons labeled Image and Transcript. The currently selected option will be a darker shade of blue. If images are not available for the current collection, the Image tab will be an even lighter shade of blue, and you will not be able to click on it. These buttons allow you to toggle back and forth between the image and transcript for the current page. The transcript view displays the information that has been indexed for each record on that page. It is organized into 6 main columns: names, start and end date, location, original text, and record type. The names column will display the name of the primary individual. To the left of each name, you will see a blue plus symbol if more information is available. Clicking on that symbol will expand the information for that record to include the names of family members if indexed, as well as any other collection-specific fields that have been indexed for that collection. If you navigate to the transcript page after having selected one of your search results, the additional information for that record will already be expanded to help you locate as much information about that record as possible. The original text column is used for a variety of purposes depending on the collection, although it is not used across all databases. For collections that were created from books of published town vital records, like the volumes of our Massachusetts Vital Records to 1850 database, the original text field will often be used to transcribe the text of each record, allowing users to search this data using the keyword field on the search form. In genealogical journal databases, this field is more commonly used to display the article title associated with each record. When used for a more specific purpose like this, the original text field can be relabeled to be displayed in a way that more clearly identifies the column. In general, the transcript view is a good way to see what information has been indexed for a particular record. If a name, date, or location listed on the record image does not appear on the transcript view, that means it is not a value that you'll be able to search for. In the upper right-hand corner of the page, beneath the page navigation box, you'll see a blue button labeled Report an Error on this page. While this button also appears on the image view, this feature is mostly intended to report errors on the transcript page. Our database is designed to index information as it appears on the record image. If a name is misspelled in the original record, our index should respect that spelling since it is based on that particular record rather than any other external resources. You are still welcome to report misspelled names, however, as we are able to add alternate spellings in our database index to help users searching for these records. Clicking on the error reporting button will open a small box on the page to allow you to enter your email address and the description of the error. Once you click send, your error report will be sent to webmaster@nehgs.org, which is monitored by both volunteers and the web team at NEHGS. We'll examine the error report, making any necessary changes to the database, and you'll hear back from one of us to let you know about the status of any associated records. Closer to the top of the page, you'll see a navigation bar with the title of the current database collection in large gold letters. This bar has a few options to provide more contextual information about the collection. Clicking on About this database will refresh the page to provide a description of the content of the database, including information about the source material and links to any related institutions or resources. Beneath the description, you'll also find any search tips associated with the database. The search tips may be an example of the wildcards that you can use on AmericanAncestors.org, or it may be more detailed instructions if there are any notable limitations or enhancements available for that particular collection. Next, you'll see a link to citation information. Clicking on this option will refresh the page to display the citation for the selected database as an independent resource. The citation is created at the collection level, so it will not be a complete citation if citing an individual record or article located in an online database. The database citation can, however, be incorporated into a more complete citation based on formatting guidelines such as those found in the Chicago Manual of Style or as outlined by Elizabeth Schoen Mills in Evidence Explained. The other options in the navigation bar include View Records, which will return the display to the image view if available, or the transcript view if no images are available for that collection. If you navigated to the record detail page by clicking on one of your search results, the search link located next to a magnifying glass icon will return you to the advanced search form with the same criteria you had entered for that search. If you instead navigated to this page through our database browse functionality, this search link will take you to the advanced search form with this specific database pre-selected. All other search fields will be blank in that case. Next to the search link, you will see a star icon labeled Favorite. If the icon is an outline of a star, the database is not currently selected as one of your favorites. Clicking on this icon will change it to a solid star, identifying the collection as a favorite database. At each end of the navigation bar, you'll see links related to your search results. On the left-hand side, there's a link labeled Back to Results. Clicking this link will return you to your list of search results to allow you to continue exploring those records. If you'd instead prefer to quickly jump to the next or previous result without returning to the entire list, you can select the corresponding link on the right-hand side of the navigation bar. If you're having trouble finding records using our search engine, it can be a good idea to consult our database browse feature, which allows you to better discover the online collections we have available. Think of it as browsing the stacks at your local library or using an online catalog to identify resources related to your research needs. To access this feature, you can select databases from the Browse drop-down menu in the main navigation bar of AmericanAncestors.org. Once on the database browse page, you'll see an alphabetical list of our hundreds of online databases. This page lets you search for database collections related to your research, and it provides links to discover additional information about these resources and different ways to access them. On the left-hand side of the page, you'll see a few options to filter the list of databases. The first is a keyword search box that will look for a word or phrase in the title of each database. If you'd like to search for a phrase, you'll want to enclose your search terms in quotation marks to only return database collections where those words appear next to each other in the title. In this example, I've searched for New York, and I received a list of 15 results. Some of our New York databases use the abbreviation NY in the title instead, though, so they weren't included in the results for this search. To return more accurate results, this search is fairly strict, and only databases where the terms appear exactly as they were entered will be returned. So you may want to run a few searches using different keywords to ensure you're finding all of the available resources. Beneath the database name search box, you'll find a variety of facet options to filter your results. The first is a checkbox labeled Only Collections with Images. A number of our online collections do not include images of the source material. Instead, they only offer a record transcript. It's always a good idea to consult the original record when conducting genealogical research, so it can be useful to determine the source material used for these databases and find out how you may be able to access it. In some cases, the source material may be held in our library in Boston, so you could potentially order photocopies from our research services team. If you would instead prefer to only examine database collections that do include record images, you can select the checkbox to refresh the list of databases accordingly. Below the checkbox, you'll see 3 sets of facets with a number of choices. The first is the location facet, which lets you filter the list of results based on the country associated with each database. Next is the date facet, which allows you to select a year range based on the start and end date of each collection as a whole. Finally, you'll find the categories facet, which updates the list of results based on the type of records found in each database. To remove your selected facets, you can click the Reset Filters option at the top of the left-hand column. Shifting our attention to the list of databases, you should notice 4 icons placed next to each database title. Starting from the left, clicking the magnifying glass will take you to the advanced search form with that collection pre-selected in the database drop-down menu, with all other search fields blank to allow you to conduct a search of just the records in that particular database. Next, you'll see a small I, or information icon. Clicking on this will take you to the About This Database section for that collection to provide more information about the source material and the records it holds. The third icon will either be a camera, letting you know that the collection contains images, or a piece of paper, which means that no images are available. Clicking on either of these icons will take you to the first page of the first volume for that collection. This is a good option if you would like to browse through the resource, as you might do if you were in a library reading a book off the shelf or looking at a reel of microfilm. You'll be taken to the same record detail page that you go to when you click on one of your search results, so the tools used to navigate through the resource remain the same. The final icon is the star that lets you control whether or not a specific collection is identified as one of your favorite databases. To access your favorite databases, you can navigate to the Advanced Database Search form and click the Favorites checkbox next to the Database Types section header. This will update the database drop-down menu to only display your list of favorite collections. You can leave the database menu selection as All to search across all your favorites at once, or you can select an individual collection to search just one at a time. Next, to put everything we've discussed into practice, I'm going to walk us through a couple of search case studies to illustrate some of the strategies you can use when you're having a hard time finding records on our website. Our first case study will examine how to narrow in on a specific collection when you're unable to locate a vital record through a more general search. In this example, I've searched for the birth record of Jonathan Dewey in Windham, Connecticut in 1803 as the son of Freeman and Dolly. And I met with the dreaded, "Your search should not match any of our records" message. But what if I'm positive that all this information is correct? How could any HDS not have Connecticut birth records? Refusing to accept that, I decide to find out just what online resources are available by heading to the Browse Databases section. Filtering broadly, I search for databases in the Vital Records category with Connecticut in the title. discovering a promising lead in the Connecticut Vital Records to 1870 database, which is also known as the Barber Collection, since these records were collected, transcribed, and abstracted by Lucius Barnes Barber, Connecticut Examiner of Public Records, and his team of researchers between 1918 and 1928. I decide to browse this resource, clicking on the camera icon, to become more familiar with the structure of the records held in this collection. In examining the transcript view for these records, I notice that the names of parents are not included in the names column, even when present in the record. So using the family member field on the search form, as I did at the beginning of this example, would prevent me from receiving any results. I also notice, however, that this collection takes advantage of the original text field to transcribe the text of each record, and these transcriptions do include the names of parents when available. With a better understanding of how the data is indexed for this collection, I click the search link beneath the database title in the navigation bar to conduct a search that is more tailored to this dataset. This time, instead of placing the parents' names in the family members fields, I've placed them in the keywords field to allow the search engine to look for those names in the original text field. From looking at the transcript, I know that the Barber collection also indexes names, years, and record types, as well as locations, so it looks like this search should be good to go. With a search query tailored to the specific collection, I'm able to find the exact record I was looking for. Now, there could have been a few other ways to locate this same record, like dropping the parents' names when I first received 0 results, or browsing the alphabetically arranged Wyndham volume of the Barber collection. But this should help illustrate how becoming more familiar with the structure of an individual database can help you to better navigate its contents. In our second case study, I'll show you how our collection of genealogical journals and periodicals can help you locate records or references that are unavailable through more traditional vital record databases. In this example, I've searched for the death record of Joseph Gatchell in Brunswick, Maine in 1780. Once again, I've received 0 results when searching for a New England vital record. Finding that strange, I return to the Browse Databases page to examine the available Maine-based resources. Filtering for collections that have Maine in the title, I notice that there is a database index for Maine deaths, but its date range is too recent to include the record I'm looking for. Beneath that entry, however, I notice that the Maine Genealogist, the quarterly journal of the Maine Genealogical Society, is available to search. Thinking there may be articles related to Joseph Gatchell, I click on the magnifying glass icon to conduct a search of the records held in that collection. Once on the advanced search form, I look at the search tips section for the Maine Genealogist. It lets me know that the year fields for this database are based on the date that the articles were published rather than the event date, so I know to leave those blank, along with the location field. The search tips also tell me that it's possible to search for article title keywords, so I add the terms Brunswick and death to help narrow my search. Since journal databases are usually indexed by just first and last name, adding article title keywords can help to focus the type of results you receive in your search. Depending on how common the name you're searching for is, you might also prefer to leave the keywords field blank to be able to examine all of the articles where that name appears. After conducting my search, I receive one result for a Joseph Gatchell or Getchell referenced in an article titled Early Death Records of Brunswick, Maine, recorded in the first volume of Brunswick Records. The default phonetic search behavior helped to locate this record even though it doesn't match the exact spelling of my search terms. And it seems like a promising lead based on the indexed article title, so I click through the result to examine the record. After examining the page image, I locate the death record of Joseph Gatchell, dated August 5th, 1780, a record that matches my original search terms, showing that it can be useful to search for individuals in journals and periodicals when you're not able to find the records you expect in our vital record collections. Now, you might have noticed that the spelling in this article matches the spelling in my search terms, even though the name displayed in the search results did not. That's because the database index is based off of the print index for this volume, and genealogical journals often standardize the spelling of surnames to make them easier to find all in one place in the index. For that reason, I wouldn't suggest using the exact search option when consulting journals and periodicals. The phonetic or soundex search option should, however, effectively return any relevant results when comparing your search terms to index spellings. The footnote at the bottom of this page cites the source material for this article, a family history library microfilm of Brunswick town records. Looking in our library catalog, I discovered that this microfilm is also in the NEHGS collection, so this resource would be accessible at our research library in Boston. It's also possible to order microfilm from the Family History Library to view at your local Family History Center or another approved lending institution, which includes the NEHGS library. Source citations and journal articles can also point you to other resources for further information as you continue your genealogical research. So, to review some of the main points from today, browsing our database collection allows you to locate individual resources that are tailored to your research interests. Selecting a specific database provides more detailed search options and instructions, as well as information about the source material. And the transcript view shows you which fields have been indexed and are available to search for each collection.
Thanks, Christopher, for your presentation. So now let's get to your questions. If you have anything that you'd like to ask, go ahead and type it in the questions panel to the right of your screen. It looks like a few of you have already taken us up on that offer, and we have a number of questions coming in. So Christopher, one question that a few people have asked actually, when you search locations, can you search multiple locations at one time?
I do not believe that the search engine will support searching by multiple locations at the same time. To touch on this a bit, the search engine kind of applies an implied Boolean AND operator, and the OR operator is not supported by the search engine. So if you would like to search for a wide range of locations, you're going to want to use the broadest region that applies to both of those locations, such as the county or the state that they are involved with. If they don't share any commonality, then you would want to conduct two separate searches for those locations.
And similarly, Cindy asks, when you're using the browse function, can you do New York and NY to search, databases that have both New York and the abbreviation in the database title, or do you have to search for those separately?
It would certainly be useful if you could, but again, the search will only match all of the terms that exactly appear as they are in the title. So I do believe that you would have to conduct those searches separately. It's certainly welcome to try that to see if it works. It's possible that it does look for all of those terms, but I think to be on the safe side, you would want to conduct two separate searches to capture all of the associated databases.
Thanks. Now, a few people have asked about maybe you could comment on how some of our databases or resources, how are they distinct or unique from what's available on some other subscription sites like Ancestry?
That's a good question. I can say for our collection of databases, which now numbers a little over 400, roughly 1/3 of those resources are identified as being unique to our website. I would certainly recommend checking out the database browse section to see if you can identify any resources that you are not familiar with on another site, because you should be able to have a good chance of finding some of those resources. But to give a few examples of some collections, we have a large number of basically town-based vital record collections that were obtained from our manuscript collection here in Boston. So they're going to be unique resources that you can't find elsewhere. We also have our ongoing study projects like early New England families and early Vermont settlers, which are kind of a dynamic resource that involves detailed family sketches that are being created on a day-to-day basis, and we're continually adding new sketches for those collections on roughly a monthly or quarterly basis.
Great, thank you. Now, Sanford asks for citations. How do those appear on saved documents?
So when you save a document, the default file name will just be the database title. So it does not include any of the volume or page citation information. So it is something that you would want to add yourself while saving the document, since you will be presented with a prompt being allowed to rename that file.
And Beth asks, can you sort by most recently added records? So you do a search, you get your results. Are you able to filter that by most recently added records or databases?
That is an interesting idea. It is currently not possible to do that on the search results page, but I will point out that you can find a list of the most recently added databases on the home page in one of the main buckets on that screen, and that's updated on a monthly basis. So you'll see the full list of new databases for that month with descriptions as well as options to search those individual collections.
Thanks. Now, Linda asks, she says, some of the last names that she's researching have meanings that cause her results to have to come up with some irrelevant records. For example, one of her last names is Pier, P-I-E-R. When she does a search for that, some of the returns or the returned records involve, piers on the water. What advice do you have for her and for other people who have last names that mean other things?
So it sounds like if those are the type of results you're receiving, you may be using the keyword field or the main keyword search box from the homepage to conduct that search. If you use one of these surnames with multiple meanings in the last name field on the advanced search form, the search engine should only search for those names in the last name field, giving you more exact results.
And I know you kind of went over this when you talked about the browse function. Could you maybe comment, generally on what states are included or covered through our databases? Mary asks, or she says, on one database she saw an Alabama listing. So maybe how extensive are non-New England states represented on our website?
Sure. The main focus of our database collection will be New England based on our historical context on focusing on that region. We also have a large number of resources focused on areas of migration out of New England, such as the mid-Atlantic, the Midwest, and then we also have other resources that are even broader in scope. We have some European databases, we have some Southern and more Western state databases, and these are often obtained through partnerships with other organizations such as Family Search, so this broader scope is only going to increase as we continue to upload new collections.
Great, thank you. Now James asks, he says that he's having little luck in searching Maine during the period when it was part of Massachusetts. So if I want a record from pre-state Maine, should I search in Maine or in Massachusetts databases? Should I search by town name? Do county names work? So Christopher, if you could kind of comment on how those records are indexed or classified on our website, that would be great.
That's a great question. So as you may recall from my second example, the early records from Maine are a little limited as far as a specific vital record database. But I will be able to touch upon what the best strategy is when you're searching locations that have changed historically. In general, we try to index locations based on their modern day terminology to assist users in finding all of the records associated with an individual location with one search. Now, there may be some collections or records where historical names have been used, so it can be useful to expand your search using those terms if you're having difficulty. But I would say overall, you're going to have the most luck using for the towns or counties or states as they are known today.
Great, thank you. So I think that's just about all the time we have for questions. If you think of anything, if anything comes up, you can reach out to us at webmaster@nehgs.org. Also, if you'd like more detailed or more help or assistance with the details of your own research, you can always schedule a consultation with one of our genealogical experts, or you can also hire our research services team. So I just want to thank you again for joining us today for our webinar. If you're interested in attending future online programs or see what's coming up, you can always visit americanancestors.org/education. Following this webinar, you'll receive a follow-up email with a link to the recording, a link to that subject guide on using American Ancestors, which has a few other tips and strategies for searching our databases. And you'll also receive a survey. So again, thank you for coming, and I hope to see you at our online programs in the future. Goodbye for now.